Hello, my little doodlebugs. Let's go over Math Simple Solutions 1. Okay, so I really hope that nobody missed this one. If you missed this one, you need to go talk to your mommy and your daddy. Okay? First name, last name. We should have this by now. Okay. 7 plus 8. Okay. Think back to what Miss Shackelford taught you with your strategies. All right? You're going to grab one number and you're going to count up some more. That's one of the strategies that you can use. I'm going to grab the 7 and go up 8. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There are other strategies that you could use as well. If we were sitting together, we'd go over them. But another one is that I see this as a 6 plus 1 and a 6 plus 2 because I know my doubles. I know that 6 and 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus 2 is 15. Okay? All you have to do is type in the 15 right here, okay? If you did anything like weird, like maybe put a space where it wasn't supposed to be, or I don't know, like as long as you put 15, I can go in and grade it and tell it that you got it correct. So if it told you that you got it wrong and you typed 15, there's some silly reason for that, and I changed those. So don't freak out on me. It doesn't mean that you missed the problem. I can fix them if there's like weirdness that's going on there. Okay. Number 2, fill in the sign to make the sentence true. 86 and 93. Is 86 less than 93? Is 86 greater than 93? Or is 86 equal to 93? We know that 86 is less than 93, and this is the less than symbol. And if you remember the alligator trick, alligators are super hungry fellers. They don't want a small meal. They want a huge meal. So the alligator is going to want to eat the biggest number it can find. So when that alligator's mouth opens up, it's going to open up to eat the 93. So the answer to this one was less than, with the alligator's mouth pointing in that direction. Number 3, count by tens. Hopefully you guys haven't lost touch enough to not know how to count by tens. If you missed this one, it's probably because you put 2 spaces instead of 1. You didn't put a comma where you're supposed to. Maybe you put too many commas, craziness like that. And all of those things, I can go in and tell it that you got it right. So if it counted it wrong, it's because your answers don't look exactly like one of the ones that I typed in. But that's okay. All right? It doesn't mean you missed it. It just means that I need to go in myself and say, hey, no computer, they got that one right. Okay? So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. You're changing that tens place every time, going up by 1. 34 minus 17. There are a couple of different strategies that you could use here as well. Maybe you know that the double of 17 is 34. Or if you don't, there's always the good old-fashioned pencil and paper, okay? Oops, I've clicked on something here. Here, let me do it on here. Okay, so you've got 34 minus 17. If you're not super comfortable with borrowing yet, that's okay. Most people, when they come into 3rd grade, are struggling a little bit with that, so don't panic out. We'll practice this a lot, okay? All right, 4 minus 7 is not going to work. We're going to mark out the 4, and we're going to borrow a 10 from this 3, okay? So we're going to put 10 more here, turning that 4 into 14. It's also possible that you know how to do this, but we've been out of school for so long that your brain stopped working, okay? It's going to take some practice for it to turn back on. Okay, now that we've borrowed a 10 from this, we're going to have to bump this down to a 2. 14 minus 7, we know that because 7 doubled is 14. So 14 minus 7 is 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. And so our answer is 17. All righty. Number 5, draw a triangle, write underneath how many sides and angles there are. Upload the picture of your drawing here. Hopefully you guys didn't have any issues with that. If you did, it's okay. We'll get over the whole technology bumps as we go along. A triangle, if you've ever ridden a tricycle, is going to have 3 sides, just like a tricycle has 3 sides. A tripod has 3 legs. Okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3 sides. And the angles, the angles are the little pokey things right here. 1, 2, 3. So hopefully you wrote that it has 3 sides and 3 angles. Okay, which shape is divided into equal fourths? Oh no, I don't have this one up for you, but I'll have to go back in and fix that, kiddos. Equal fourths means that you're splitting something into 4 equal pieces. Okay, think about if you're eating with your sisters or your brothers or your cousins and you each want an equal share of whatever delicious food that might be. I'm going to say it's chocolate pie because I've not had sugar in a month. So that's chocolate pie. If anybody got a bigger slice than the other person, there's going to be a fight at the dinner table, okay? You want them to be equal sizes, okay? So equal fourths. All righty. Number 7, 76 plus 38. This one's going to be easiest just to write it out old-fashioned way. 76 plus 38. Okay, 6 plus 8. I see that as 6 plus 6 plus 2, just because I know my doubles right off the top of my head. So I know that's 12 plus 2, 14. Carry my 1. 7 and 1 is 8. 9, 10, 11. So the answer to that would be 114. Write the time shown on the clock. And then I told you all where you could find the symbol that will go in between your numbers. Now, if you look, I'm not sure if you guys have been taught this trick before, but this is how I always remembered hours and minutes on a clock. If you look at the hour hand, it's short. If you look at the minute hand, it's long. Look when I write the word hour, okay, and when I write the word minute. What do you notice about those 2 words? Hour is the short word. Minute is the long word. So the hour hand is short, the minute hand is long. All right, so we know right away that it's a little bit after 5 o'clock. And to find out how many minutes after 5 o'clock it is, we have to start up here and count all the way down. Now, we could say these little bitty tick marks. We could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or we could do it the lazy way, and we could skip count. We don't need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can just say 5. And then we know by the time that we get here, it would be 10. And then to here, it would be 15, 20, 25. So the time is 5:25. And you should have written a 5. $25. Okay, there you go. And like I said, if you were to have put spaces or something that I didn't put, the computer will think that you're not right, but I will go in and fix those. So don't think that you missed it, even if it's just something silly that I can go in and say, oh, I know what they meant, and I can fix it. Okay, 12 minus 5. The strategy that I would use to do that would be to grab a 5, count up to 12, and see how many are in between 12 and 5. So I'm going to say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I had to go 7 more to make it up to 12. You also could have said 12 and then counted backwards 5. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. The answer is 7. There are other ways to do it, and I wish so badly that we were sitting with each other and then we could talk about all of the different ways that you could come up with that. But if you have different ways, you can always send me a little message on here and let me know how you see those problems. Okay, if your brain has not stopped working, you remember that an array are objects that are lined up nice and neat so that our eyes make sense of them. If it was all scribbled on this page, we would have to count. We'd be like, okay, 1, 2, 3. But they put it nice and neat for us so we can say, zoop, there's 3. An addition statement to show the sum. A sum is what you get when you add numbers together. We have 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. There are other addition statements that you could have done as well. You could have said 3 plus 0 equals 3. You could have said 0 plus 3 equals 3. Okay? Just about any way that you would put one of those, I would take as correct. So I'll go in and I'll grade them and see if you got it right, okay? Number 10, 516 plus 233. 516 plus 233. Okay. 6 plus 3 is 9. 1 plus 3 is 4. 5 plus 2 is 7. Ta-da! 749 is your answer to that one. We didn't have to carry or anything like that. That one was pretty simple. If you missed it, maybe your brain stopped for a few seconds. Totally happens. Okay, write the base 10 number for 60 plus 3. Okay, now, when I first started teaching 3rd grade math, I had to go to Mr. Napier and tell him that I had no idea what a base 10 number was. And what in the world did they mean by write the base 10 number? My doggie Maggie would like to say hi to you guys. Maggie, say hi to all the little 3rd grade mathematicians. Hi. Hi. I want to learn how to add numbers too and be so smart. You can't, Maggie. You're a doggie. Your job is to be cute. Okay. Anyway, and Mr. Napier said, calm down. Base 10 number means just to write the number. They just sometimes want to be fancy and say it in a different way. Literally just means to write the number, okay? So write the base 10 number for 60 plus 3. It's 63. That's it. 60 plus 3 is 63. I think sometimes they just like to confuse us. Okay, number 13. Order these numbers from greatest to least. So that's biggest to smallest. The biggest number here is going to be 56, then 31, then 19, then 14. This is another one of those tricky ones that maybe it said that you missed it, but that just means that you didn't type it exactly with the perfect spaces and commas and all that stuff that maybe I put into my computer, and that's okay. I can fix it for you. If you really got it right, I'll fix it for you. Number 14, write the base 10 number. This just means the number, 29 tens. Okay. Now, this, I'm not sure how much you got into with Miss Shackelford last year. You're not sitting in front of me so that I can see if your little faces are confused or not. So I'm going to pretend like you don't know what it is, even though I'm sure that a lot of you probably do. Okay. 29 tens. Think about if you had tens sticks in front of you, 29 of them. If you had 1 10 stick, you'd have 10. You had 2 10 sticks, you'd have 20. 3, you'd have 30. I'm just adding a 0 onto the end of however many tens I have. So if I have 29 tens, I'm going to have 290. Okay? We'll get into that a little bit. If that confuses you, don't panic. We'll talk more about that and little tricks to help you remember stuff like that later in the year. Number 15. Susie drove 210 miles in the morning and 243 miles in the afternoon. Okay, right now I knew that she drove a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the afternoon. If I wanted to know how many she drove that day, what would I need to do to the number of miles that she did in the morning and the number of miles that she did in the afternoon? I'd have to add them, right? I'd have to add up 210 and 243 and find out how many that is altogether. Okay? Susie had to drive a total of 704 miles. Maybe you're going to Florida on vacation and you drive 210 miles the first day, take a little nap, maybe you stop and get something to eat, and then you get back in your car and you drive 243. Okay? If you add those two numbers together, you're going to get 453. That's how much she drove on the first day, 453 miles. Well, she has to drive a total of 704 miles before she hits the ocean. So, if we know that she's driven 453 miles and she needs to go 704 in all, how are we going to set up our sentence to figure that out? Both of these say 210 plus 243 equals 453 at the first. So that doesn't really help us. We know that both of those first parts are correct. We're going to add how many she drove on the first day. But this one says 704 miles minus the number that she drove the first day will give us the number of miles that she still has to drive. And that's right, because look how silly this one is. 453 plus 704 to find out how many more miles she has to drive. That's saying that she has to drive the total amount plus how many miles she drove yesterday to get there. And that just doesn't make any sense. Word problems are something that get a lot of kids, not just third graders. They get a lot of teachers, okay? They're very confusing. We're going to go over a lot of strategies this year on how to work through word problems, how to make them not seem so scary and not so wordy. And if you were confused on that one, it's okay. You're going to be confused on word problems, at first, especially at first, where we haven't really exercised our brains a whole lot. After you get finished watching this video, if you want to go back and redo any of the ones that you missed, I'm going to open up the option for you guys to do that because I want you to have a good grade on these first assignments that I give you, okay? I love you guys. I wish that we were sitting face to face, but